Today we're going to be talking about a spooky topic, so I've shut off all the lights except for the shelf light. Those are too hard to turn off. So today we're going to be talking about anime lost media. Now there's not a whole lot of lost media whenever it comes to anime. Anime has not been around for as long as like regular TV shows or anything like that, so it makes sense that we don't have as much whenever it comes to anime in general. Now there is some like dubs that are missing from certain companies, those are missing. And when we get into the manga topic, there is a lot of lost media, but that'll be a different video for another day. Today, we're going to be focused strictly on anime. Okay, we're going to turn the lights on now. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is Panty and Stocking. Now, Panty and Stocking is an anime that has been released, and we have every episode that has been officially released. However, there is believed to be a pilot episode. Well, we know there's at least one pilot episode, but there's rumors that there is up to 2 pilot episodes that are lost. Panty and Stocking came out in 2010, but we believe the original Panty and Stocking pilot came out all the way back in 2002. There's also a rumor of a pilot all the way back in 2000, 10 years before the original series came out. Is that true? I don't know. There's really no evidence as to when this series was supposed to, like, this pilot was supposed to have been aired or whenever it was supposed to be shown. We don't know. All that we do know is we have this one image from the pilot episode. That is it. Now, a lot of TV shows will get pilot episodes. That is what a lot of lost media is. It is original pilot episodes that were shown to a very select group of people and then kind of judge on whether or not it should be made into a full series. And Panty and Stocking seems to be no different. Now, why did this series go missing, or this episode go missing? Probably it just was completely forgotten about. And due to it coming out so much earlier than the series, they probably didn't keep it around. And then whenever the series came out, there was no need to put it onto a Blu-ray because they probably didn't even have it. Now, what are the likelihood that we ever see this? I would say for the 2002 version, maybe like a 10% chance. There's no real major outcry for this online, so I just don't see it happening. Now, with Panty and Stocking getting a new series now, there is the possibility that that happens, but it's a completely different company being Trigger now, so there's very small likelihood this ever is shown. And then obviously the 2000 version, if it does exist, I think is long gone at this point. Now, the next one here is a bit of an interesting thing, and this is something that a lot of people don't even look for because they don't see the necessary reason to even look for it. And that is the original broadcast version of K-On! Now, this is actually partially found, and what makes this unique over the regular K-On! Is that this is in 4:3 ratio. And if you don't know, 4:3 ratio is the screen of the old TVs that you probably have watched movies on when you were a kid is in a more of a square box. Compared to now, which is a 16:9, what is most film and what is videos and everything else. It is more commonplace, and pretty much everything has been traded out for 16:9. However, the original K-On! Broadcast was broadcast in 4:3 ratio. The original Blu-ray, though, was in 16:9. So there's no real way to find this original thing anymore, especially in its broadcast form. But what makes it interesting is that it's not like we're not getting more of the screen, it's just cropped. So it's hard to actually know what is and what isn't the original broadcast. There really isn't a major outcry online to find this either because a lot of people have that same kind of attitude. Why do we even want to look for it? But I believe stuff like this is really interesting, and if we were able to find it, I think it is something we should archive because of how big K-On! Is now. To have this entire section of its history just missing. Well, it's not completely missing. There is some of it found, but not all of it. Now, recently, K-On! Was completely re-aired on TV, but they did go with the 16:9 ratio, not the 4:3. So it's possible that the 4:3 ratio recordings don't even exist anymore, unfortunately. Now, the next one is one that we may not even have the ability to find because it may not exist at all. And the third one I'm talking about is the Castle in the Sky Studio Ghibli alternate ending. So many people believe there is an alternate ending to Castle in the Sky. There is various reports on what it may be. I've found a few different reports as to what people think it is, what changes there were, but a lot of people really don't know. And I don't really know where this came from either. It just seems to have always been a thing that people believe that they saw one time being broadcast. I don't think that it really exists. And I believe this is a major example of the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect being that everybody thinks something existed earlier in their childhood, that they think they saw something, then someone else says, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that too. And then just a bunch of people end up believing that it really happened. I think that is the case with this, and that it probably does not exist. However, there is a bit of credit we need to give to them, because Studio Ghibli has actually came out and said that there was changes in Castle in the Sky, but not to the extent that some people believe. Some people believe the entire ending was completely different. But the way that they word it makes it seem as if it is not quite to that level. They make it seem like it's just a few minor changes that were here and there, maybe a few different like shots, but they really aren't going to waste a bunch of time animating a scene and then just not use it. They're going to do that in storyboard, and they're really not going to wait around and then end up having to scrap a bunch of film when they are very early on in Studio Ghibli's life at this point. So they're aware of this existing, this theory existing, and so this gives me like the most evidence that if it does exist, we're never going to see it. If it existed and they wanted to release it, they would have released it when the like public was really talking about it. They didn't, so I think if it did exist, they would have released it, but obviously they didn't, so I think this is probably doesn't exist, but if it does, it's lost forever. Now, number 4 is a very interesting one, and that is Hannah Montana, the anime. Yes, Hannah Montana was going to have an anime adaptation back in 2010. Now, this may be like the reason as to why this does not exist, because Hannah Montana began its show, like the US show with Miley Cyrus, back in 2006. That is 3 years before production began on this series, and at least 4 to 5 years before it would have been released. That means that the original Hannah Montana show would have been canceled by the time this anime even came out. However, it did begin development in 2009 by Toei Animations. They're world renowned for what they do, and what we have kind of gathered by the Lost Media group they've discovered that there was 4 like final designs that they were going on for this series. We know that 2 of them most likely made music videos, animated music videos for songs that we either existed already, maybe they were new music videos, we don't know. All we know is that there was 2 music videos that were probably animated, and we know that there were character sheets also made. Now, we don't know really how far in development anything else got, if anything. Obviously, it was canceled very, very early in production. We know there was no work on any episodes made. Probably very little of the cast was made, and they probably didn't even, those music videos were not new songs. Like, there's no Hannah Montana music videos that we did not get because they were hidden here. I don't think that there was no songs recorded. Probably they used pre-existing songs and just animated it to kind of judge, hey, how's this going to work? And would it have worked? Maybe, but it should have came out in like 2007, not 2010, because Hannah Montana was dead at that point. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about here is one that is actually very interesting because it has been found. And it's actually an example of a few different anime that had 1 to 2 episodes, maybe even a half a season, completely delayed or moved or changed or altered, so that because of a real life event. So the anime in question that I'm going to talk about today is Tepen. Now, Tepen was released back in 2022, and I heard about it at the time, so it's not like this obscure anime or anything, but its second episode dealt with presidential assassinations, or there was a president that was going to be assassinated or something. I don't know, I've not seen the series, but what happened in real life changed the airing episode to not be able to do that. Because right before episode 2 of the series was supposed to come out, Shinzo Abe, the former president or former prime minister, I don't know if it's president or prime minister over there, but whatever, he was assassinated. And you can't really do that, like do an episode on presidential assassinations right after your former president got assassinated. But that's probably a bad thing. So the episode was supposed to air in July of 2022, but it was delayed. They re-aired episode 1 that week. They just moved on to episode 3, and then episode 2 was re-aired in September of 2022. So it was completely lost media for about 2 months. And fortunately, a lot of anime lost media is because of results like this. There's not a lot of ones that have completely gone missing. Usually they are delayed and eventually they will be revealed. But there is a lot more lost media whenever it comes to, like I said earlier, manga, and there are a few more interesting cases of anime, especially if you get into the dubbing side of it. There's different dubs that have completely gone missing and they may not be ever found. One interesting thing that I think I'm going to tease for the next video will be the original Haruhi Suzumiya, the famous anime, the original manga adaptation is almost completely lost. How did that happen? But somehow it is. But it's been partially found. Now, if you want to learn more about that, there'll be a video out very soon. And if you'd like to see that and many more, including unboxings and other videos here in my little collection room here, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I hope you did enjoy this. It's something a little bit different than I do normally, but I think it was a lot of fun making it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.